welcome back to Tell All Bencha. We're getting sassy with it today.
All right. So we're moving on to episode 20. Today's.
Holy shit.
I know, right? Our creativity has gone on. So this is a topic you wanted to talk about. It was on your list.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about, well, I guess in general, body positivity is the topic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am curious what your research is. Because obviously I just came up with the thing and now you have the research. So I'm curious like what you're going to bring up versus what I was thinking. So we'll see.
Yeah. So kind of, well, I'll dive in and then yeah. Okay. So how body image was shaped by media, right? The differences in our generation. So for X, grew up with magazines, TV, the heroin fashion styles that, persisted, and there was minimal, if no, diversity, right? So there's the X lens. How do you view the Z lens and with regard to how media shaped it?
Well, it's definitely all social media, but I feel like it's like a lot of like big names, like Kardashians. Like for a while, everybody everybody wants like the big butt, big boobs, tiny waist, where it was like not natural, I guess. And like the lip filler and the Botox and all the things. And I feel like a lot of it is shaped with what they do. So when they took out their implants or whatever, then everybody wanted to be skinny mini again, which is fine. But it's just weird that we're kind of taking these examples of people who do not have the same bone structure even. You know what I mean? Like some people are just bigger boned. Some people are petite, whatever. So it's like, why are we all idolizing the same person yet we're so different? So that's like one lens. And then the other thing too is like, it's almost gotten to the extreme of like the opposite way, I guess, where size inclusive stuff, where we're now having like 5XL, which is great. Like we need sizes for people that are bigger, but also now it's almost turned a little bit to where I struggle finding clothes that fit me because I am on the smaller side naturally. Like my parents are small, like my little sister's smaller. So if like the smallest size is too big for me, I'm like, what the hell is she wearing? So I feel like we almost took it too far, but yet I'm glad that like brands like Aerie and American Eagle are using like real body shapes and stuff for their clothing. So I feel like it's like this weird mix of like we're trying to be accepting, but then we're almost pushing it the complete opposite direction. And now it's like, why can't everybody just be comfortable? I guess that was a long spiel, but
no, I was sitting here going, are you sure you didn't do research? because the Gen Z body image allegedly was shaped by social media, filters, influencers, and more visible body diversity.
Yes.
But also this pressure to curate the images.
Yeah.
To make them just so. So like you spoke to every one of those. So I was sitting here going, well, I think she might have done some research.
No, it's just like seriously, like that's the stuff that I wanted to talk about.
Right.
Because that's just what I feel myself. So then I'm like, what do these other people feel? So clearly I'm not off.
No,
like,
you're like spot on.
Yeah.
For me, this is a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
From having an exercise degree background and the pressures, of that and the messaging that has changed. So I think we're just trying to have an honest conversation without offending anybody. So hang in there, right?
Yeah. And I do think that this is like a very sensitive topic for everybody. Sorry. This is like really actually angering me.
Yeah, it is. And we're willing to have that conversation. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you was,
oh my gosh, my hair. Okay,
what messages did you get about your body growing up?
Mm. See, that's where it gets sensitive even for me, because I was literally talking about this the other day, but from outside perspectives, it was always, well, a few things. So my ribs stick out like crazy. So that's starting at a young age where there was no boobs. I still don't have boobs, but you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it was always, you have 2 sets of boobs. So that insecurity started when I was like, probably in like literally first or second grade, of people being like, you have 2 boobs, whatever,
Okay.
like 2 sets.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that was feedback that I always got. And then also that I'm too small, that I'm too skinny. You should eat a burger. Like the things that you just hear.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have this weird thing when you're a kid of like, well, I'm fat. Like I feel like there's always this body dysmorphia going on because you don't see yourself as skinny as the models, let's say. And I don't know if skinny is technically a derogatory term at this point. I really don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know there's a difference between being small, petite, skinny. Like it's all different, I guess. But so I feel like it was always like, you're too small, you're too small, you're too small.
Okay.
You don't have a butt. You don't have boobs. You have no curves. You look like a box. You look like a ruler. So
I don't remember us having those kind of conversations amongst us or feeling that pressure in my generation. So this is where I would love Gen X to, and we can't wait till we start getting guests here, but you know, we're doing things pulling in, but I can't wait to get other perspectives. I didn't have that. I probably just more internalized my own judgments on my body. Like you look in the mirror, and I don't think anybody looks in the mirror and says, I'm beautiful.
I know.
We all look in the mirror and go, ugh, I don't like that. Or, I wish it was this. Right?
But don't you, I don't know if, I feel like this might not go with the topic, but it does. Like, I know that I grew up hearing the people I looked up to saying those things about themselves. So then that's why I started feeling it. At least now that I'm an adult, I can see that because I still hear those things from these people. And I'm like, okay, no wonder I've never liked the way I look, because you very vocally say how you hate your body all the time, how you hate this, how you hate that. So it's like, don't you feel like maybe you had that too, where you're like, figures in your life are like, well, look at me, I look so bad, at least you don't look like this or whatever?
Well, now that you say that, what I would submit my experience was being told, just you wait.
That too.
Right. You can eat that now, but just you
Yes,
wait. It's gonna add up.
Yep. It's gonna catch up to you.
I always had probably something hanging over me like, oh, I better stay active. I better eat right. I better, because something is coming.
No, seriously. And I mean, even I feel like there's been times where you've said that to us, which you don't even realize you're doing it. It's just what everybody does. Again, like we all are learning from what we've heard. So it's like, you're doing, I know you don't mean it in a bad way. It's just one of those things.
But I think the messaging, I'm going to say, I think the messaging is different.
Yeah.
I was receiving it from the previous generations. To me, was I was going to look different. And I feel, and you can tell me this honestly, straight up, I feel the messages I'm trying to share is what you put into your body is about what you feel, energy and illness, not how you look. Because that's one topic that I do want to go down of. We have this idea that thin or fat, right? I'm using those terms. Like fat is unhealthy. Oh, just because you're thin doesn't mean you're healthy.
Yes.
So I think there's a big difference between what your body shape is and how it's functioning inside is very different.
Well, I also, with that topic too, I don't necessarily think that like we have an accurate, like a readily available accurate measurement, because the like BMI is very outdated.
Damn, are you sure you didn't do research? Because
sorry.
Wait, I just kind of want to show my thing where the next topic is about diet culture and trends. And, you know, one of those topics was your generation is challenging outdated metrics, AKA BMI, body mass index. Like you're challenging that.
I feel like it's helpful that my sister's going through like PT, so she's learning a lot of this stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought back, like right when I heard that, I thought back to you, how you were like, technically on this scale, I'm morbidly obese.
Yes, I was
And then
obese.
And I'm like, that is not, like, clearly that was wrong. And I was like, I don't have proof that it's wrong. But now, like, hearing my sister talk about, like, no, there's an accurate way where you're supposed to sit in this freaking body of water and see what floats, what doesn't, whatever. Because it's like, I think that also comes into my head too of like, this is so bad, but I'm admitting it. Like, I'm afraid to weigh more. But also, I know that any weight I put on from exercise is most likely muscle, which weighs more. So it's like, it shouldn't even be like, oh, do you weigh 100 pounds or 300? Because somebody that weighs 300 pounds and is freaking ripped looks way better than somebody that is 100 pounds potentially.
Yep.
You know, like, whatever. Now I'm tangenting.
Well, I mean, it's all related though.
It is.
Right. And we could have like a whole episode on exercise science and
just everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And the different technology that's trying to measure this. But you're right. As far as the underwater weighing, and I had done that in my degree. Damn near drowned doing it. But anyways, you got to exhale all the oxygen out of your body.
Yeah, hell no.
You know, so there's all these different techniques. And some are shadier than others that just a ballpark sort of a thing, right? So again, it also kind of ties back to technology, because I had last episode about sleep. I was like, oh, these devices and the tracking. Yeah, there's different measurements that are going on between these devices. So which one do you believe? Right?
I know.
So yeah, I do think we are challenging all sorts of things. You know, the outdated metrics. Here's another one that I want to diet culture sort of things. Gen X was exposed to fad diets and the low fat craze. Like, fat was bad. Gotta have zero, low fat, low. And there was much taboos around weight, that number that you were talking about, not looking at the fact that muscle weighs more than fat, adipose tissue, right? Okay, so Gen Z, you're more open to the intuitive eating and rejecting diet culture.
Yeah. I always say I will never do a diet, because even even when I was going through all my stomach issues and they wanted me to do the FODMAPs diet or whatever, I was like, I literally cannot do that, because if I put myself on a diet, I know myself well enough that it will become an obsession, and then that's an eating ED.
Okay, eating disorder.
You can't say that on YouTube.
Okay, we're going to get that screened out. Bloop.
Yeah. An ED.
An ED.
So,
okay.
But yeah, so I'm just like, I know that like I can't do that. And I know a lot of other people my age are like, no to the diets. Like, just eat healthy and work out. But I don't know.
We always talked about, in school, it was like, DIE is the majority of the word diet, right? Like, it's a lifestyle that you want to embrace, of choosing right things, not just food, but just in general, right? Like, the diet, you can starve yourself, you get crabby, ornery, miserable, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Wow, look what I learned. I'm afraid that YouTube's going to screen us out. Okay, here we go. Here's the body positivity or body performance. Have you heard of those differences?
I don't know what body performance. I would assume it's what your body's able to do.
Yeah, how it feels.
Yeah.
More interested in how it feels than how it looks per se. Do you think there's any fitness trends with teens right now versus when you were a teen?
I feel like for some reason everybody's obsessed with Pilates. I don't know if that's necessarily a fitness trend or not. I would assume it probably is, but I don't know. I know people are trying more to like drink water, like all the water bottle crazes right now, Awala, all the things, whatever. So I know that's a thing, but I don't think, like, I'm not on TikTok, so it's hard. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like that's probably
that's the
biggest things. I don't know.
And I'm afraid to say this if I'll get screened or not, but the injections that people are taking to lose weight.
Mm.
My generation, or is your generation doing those?
I think it's more so between us and your generation as of now.
Okay.
But also, I don't know that because I know of somebody around my age who's doing something like that. But I also know, I didn't know, okay, back up. I did not know that those things were injections. I literally saw that on the counter at home because my dad has to have it for his like diabetes from his heart surgery, whatever. He doesn't look like he has diabetes, whatever. But okay, that was bad.
See,
now I'm like making like assumptions. Well, whatever. Okay, so he has diabetes because he had a heart failure surgery, whatever. But I learned that it's even an injection. So I'm like, damn, people are really injecting themselves. And also it causes hair loss, dryness, like all these side effects that I'm like, is it really worth it? And how is it that easy to get? And it's expensive, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a whole, that if I was going to say the latest trend, that would be it. And then I would be curious to peel back the layer of the onion on what generations predominantly do it. What's the driving force behind it? Is it for body appearance or is it for, right? Like all
It's
of
for
that.
appearance.
It's so new that I don't know that we have enough information on to go, what are the long-term effects of it? Right.
But well, I do feel like, I mean, and it's almost sad in a way because you do see, and I'm just talking celebrities because obviously like they do get the most feedback from the general public, but a lot of these celebrities, mostly women, I would say, have lost a substantial amount of weight. And everybody's comments are like, Ozempic,
yeah,
whatever. And it's just like, maybe, but also why are we now assuming that this person did not put in the work or that it wasn't a medical reason?
Right.
Because what if they had to go on that? Like, I just feel like, why are we commenting on people's bodies in general? I just don't get it. Like, that's what frustrates me.
But it's so human nature. We comment on our own when we look in the mirror.
Because that's what we learned. But also, I would never go up to somebody and be like, you look huge today.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like, I'm never going up and being like, damn, you look skinny as hell. Like, you need to eat a burger. I would never do that. But now, okay, so I've been gaining weight, whatever. I'm saying it's my like adult puberty. I feel like I'm going through a second puberty. And so I've been gaining weight. And now the newest thing that everybody keeps telling me is you look healthy. Triggering. It is triggering me. I'm like talking to my therapist about it and everything. Because then in my head, I'm like, so my entire life, my 24 years, I've been hearing, you're so small, blah, 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 all this stuff. And now it's you're healthy. So I'm like, clearly you're noticing that my body's changing, but why do you have to point that out, for one? And saying that you look healthy is not a compliment. Like,
well, right, because we already established that thin
that's
doesn't
not even
equal
a thing.
healthy,
Yeah.
and over, a size doesn't mean you're unhealthy,
so
right?
I'm like, so because I went up a size and my hips are growing, I look healthy now, but before I didn't. So now you're telling me that before I also looked super sickly.
Yeah,
like, it's just weird.
I just think it's human judgment that we...
But I just would not do that. And I think it's probably because I am somebody that's gotten those compliments or comments, I should say. I don't know.
Okay, so here's a little quiz, and I think I have my little audience thing ready this time.
Okay, I'm ready.
So we're going to talk about positivity. As I know it is being defined, is about loving your body at any size.
Okay.
And neutrality is about accepting what your body can do.
Okay.
So you accept it as it is, and it's about function over appearance. And then there's negativity, is about shaming, being critical.
Okay,
right?
wait. So it's positivity, naturally, neutrally,
and negative.
Okay.
So
are those my answers?
Yep, you get to choose be one of the three. So
now I need to burp.
Emphasizes loving your body at all sizes.
Positivity.
Emphasizes accepting your body without pressure to love it.
Neutrality.
Dang. She's good at this. Focus on appearance and self-love.
Positivity.
Mm-hmm. Focus on function and self-respect.
Neutrality.
Yeah. Wow, she's pretty good at these. I gotta make
God,
the quizzes
I'm
next
good
time harder.
at definitions, baby.
Final, here's 2 more. Can feel overwhelming for people with body image struggles.
Positivity.
Yeah. All right. And the last one, offers a more accessible mindset for many.
Neutrality.
Yeah. So there wasn't any, didn't have any
There was no negativity.
I didn't have any negativity. Can't use those words in here because I feel like there's so much of that out there. So I'm like, I'm not even going to discuss that. Yeah. How do you like that? Okay. Then there's this, and I think we kind of touched on it, parenting and role modeling.
Yeah.
So Gen X, my notes here, as parents, reflecting on how to raise confident kids without passing down shame. It's what we were trying to do at Gen X, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
See, again, I'm like, this is like, it has to be different from like a rural area to a, what's the other word?
Suburban.
Yeah, a suburban. It has to be. Like, it really does have to be. Because a lot of the things that you're saying, I'm like, that's not how it was for me.
I kind of feel like it's geographic as well,
Yeah.
right? Or very personal by a household.
Yeah.
Right? So these generalities where I'm just like, okay, so Gen X was trying to raise confident kids without passing down shame. Well, we were the ones that kind of introduced the trophies for everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yay, 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 yay.
Yeah.
And not doing the shame. We went kind of overboard, I think, perhaps.
In certain aspects.
Yeah. You know, and so then the Gen Z is often trying to break the cycles and advocate for mental health and acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel the more we talk about these generational issues, whether that be clothing, it's like the generations have to skip.
Yeah.
This one did that, and then we're going to do the opposite down the lane. And then all of a sudden, it's going to buoy right back to that first generation's line of thinking. So I'm always just sitting here going, there's this struggle between multi-generations getting along.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of sitting there going, does it have to be that way?
I feel like there's always going to be some of that, but I'm also like, I don't know. Like when it comes to parenting, I don't feel like there's like a rule book on it, obviously.
Wait, I just got to add on to that. Just finishing up Mother's Day. If kids would come with a manual, parenting would be so much easier. You would know how to parent the individual personalities that you're dealing with, right? But yeah, go ahead.
But it's just like, I don't know. So it's like, why can't we all just like, I don't know. I guess it's hard to even say what I'm saying because I'm like, I'm one that I don't want to have, like, I don't want to talk about my body in front of my kids if I have kids because I know that, like,
it was an issue.
Yeah, for me. But then I'm like, I don't know if it's, again, household or not because obviously I have sisters who are millennial. So it's like that didn't skip a generation because we have both.
Yeah, I do think it's just how do we share lived experience? How do we share the message in the right tone? Like I've been doing a lot of reflecting on the podcast and like Gen Z, you don't want to be lectured to by the X, right? And so if I come across with my research lecturing, I apologize. And in the flip side, it's Gen X wants to be heard and not dismissed, right? So it's just, how do we find that common ground to talk about real ass topics?
Yeah.
And this is one that all of us, and that was going to be the last little section of, it's not just women who have this body positivity, negativity, neutrality.
Mostly, but yes.
Yeah, but men do too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So how do we accept or be respectful of the topic, I guess?
Yeah.
It's so complicated. Like you and I just went shopping, and so I'll just bring that home personally. As far as I'm the same size as I was since college, but the numbers are higher because I've do more weightlifting than what I did. And you get this size of clothing locked in your head. And then you go shopping, you're like, what the heck? Why am I going up in a size? I'm the same measurements. I do way more because of more muscle than adipose tissue. So then there's this whole thing. I feel I heard that a couple years ago that women were getting bigger and they were feeling shame. And so then they started changing the clothing sizes.
They're still doing that.
Okay. And
I don't know necessarily if it's bigger or smaller.
That's the mystery.
Because there's some stores that I'm like, I used to be an extra small. Now I need an extra, extra small. So then again, where it comes in where my sister's smaller than me, and I'm like, okay, then what the hell is she wearing?
Right.
Because I bought us the same pants, her an extra, extra, me just an extra. And I literally was talking about this weekend, and I was like, I wish I would have gotten the extra, extra because I don't wear these because they're too baggy.
Yeah, I don't think there's consistency.
There's not even in the clothing line,
right?
Or within one line, there's not consistency.
Right. Yeah, because I often will. I've always been that same size to the point where I wouldn't have to try things on. I'm like, oh, just give me that.
Yeah,
I know that it fits, but now it's kind of like
not like that.
And there are stores where I put it on. I'm like, oh no, I want to go, especially in my upper body. I want to go up to a large, and then I'm look at what's left on the rack. I'm like, okay, it only goes up to extra large. So what is everybody who's bigger than me doing? Right?
It's just so weird, and like I just hate that. Even okay, so right, like let's say the jeans are a size 26. I don't know. The size 26 is supposed to be the inches. So tell me how the frick a 26 is not standard. Like I get that there's different like styles as far as like mom jeans, baggy jeans, dad jeans, whatever. But still the waist should be a 26. So how are you telling me that in this brand I'm a 24, this brand I'm a 30 or whatever? Obviously those are like not even close to being the same, but seriously, like I can be anywhere from 22 to a 26.
Which was funny. You remember when we went shopping, I'm like, well, I know I'm like a 4 or 6. And you're like, no, what number?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm a 4 or 6. What are you doing talking about 28, 30, 30?
I know.
I was like, okay, I apparently haven't bought jeans for a long time at the whole sizing thing.
So now it'll be like 0/22 or 0/24. Like it will literally, like a 0 will then be a 22, 23, 24, 25. And I'm like, that is a lot of inches different.
Yeah, and I know I've had the experience where I bought a pair of pants. I'm going to call that out at Lululemon.
Yeah.
And I bought the exact same pair of pants, looked at them a year later. And the first year it was small, medium, and large. And the second, it
0,
was
1, 2,
the numbers. And I was like, I don't know. I had medium over
right?
here. What is that over here now? Right?
Yeah. And I don't know if it's because there's more numbers than there are like the letters, I guess. So like instead of doing like the extra, they just do like the numbers. So like I get that, but I'm also like, why freaking change it?
Yeah, we had a whole shopping, episode here, a whole thing on how that how that influences how we feel about our bodies when we do go shopping.
I know, it's crazy.
So,
and the mirrors will be lying to you, all the things.
Well, just we can attest.
We should do a rule. We should go over our shopping rules for our next episode.
Our shopping what?
Our rules.
How we shop, that was an experience.
Yeah, we should do all of the shopping next.
But the other thing that I was going to point out, like even the camera, that does make us look heavier than what we are in person. So I was like, look at that. We got body positivity negative going right away.
I know, right? Like, it's just so weird. Or like how people want a picture from up here instead of straight on or down below or this or that. And they're like, it's all about the angles. And sometimes I'm like, I know I fall into that because you're trying to get the perfect angle, like whatever. But I'm like, It is not realistic. That's another thing I was going to talk about. In high school, we would edit our bodies, like drag them out or in or whatever. And people still do
really?
that, which is fine. Like face tuning your body.
Hmm.
So that's just a whole nother thing. But I'm like, if the person sees you in person and on camera you have like a freaking badonkadonk, and then in person you have like this fucking pancake, like either one great. We love them both. But like that's so
Not authentic.
no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they talk about that on the professional front as far as like the images that you put on LinkedIn or Facebook. There's a term for it where you put this image and then they see you in person. They're like, whoa, that wasn't.
That's not who I thought. Right.
Yeah.
It's just so, I mean, and it's almost like catfishing without catfishing, because like you're still yourself if you're posting these pictures, but it's still like catfishing, so to speak, because you don't actually look like that.
That's the term, catfishing.
Yeah.
When you said that, I'm like a little catfish on a string with whiskers.
No, catfishing is normally, so like let's say that like a creepy old man is going on a dating site, but he's posing as like a 20-year-old hottie, like a little baddie, whatever. Mm-hmm. Then that's a catfish, because behind the front of the picture is this like weirdo.
Okay.
But I think catfishing is also like if I were to give myself a fat ass and then you see me in person, you're like, where the fuck did the butt go?
Right.
Like it's not there. So I think that's also catfishing, but there could be a different term for it.
Interchangeable.
Yeah.
Wow, I got a new slang thing in the now I know what catfishing is.
I should have asked that one. I thought that was just the general term. I don't know.
Maybe, but not for this person.
Not for the one that switches it in her brain as she
she's gonna dish on me now. Okay. So,
but now I'm excited for next episode.
We like to mix up the topics, which is what we want to talk to you about. Like, respond in the comments. And by the way, if you're not responding because you don't want your email or your name disclosed, go out on YouTube and figure out how you can change your call name, because you can. Mm-hmm. If that helps you to put out comments. We've had a couple, and we've had some episodes created as a result of those comments. So we do appreciate it. Pass it along, share, and stay tuned for more.
If you don't go,
you won't know.
I like that.